Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes Mr. Burchett from Tennessee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here. My buddy Tom Malinowski, good seeing you again, brother. My question is, I have a piece of legislation that I'm curious if you all would comment on, and it deals with genetic material or testing, actually, that is being disclosed to the Chinese Communist Party. They're actually purchasing it from a lot of our businesses. This, findyouраncestor.com, you find out your great-great-grandfather was an African king or something, and you go back and these people most of us just find out, like me, we're just a bunch of mutts. I think I heard President Obama say that one time, that, he's just from all over, and that's probably most of America. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that, us limiting or excluding them from having our genetic material. Tom?
I'd love to look at your bill. I'll tell you just personally, I've always wanted to use one of those services because I'm curious to know how you and I may be distant cousins somewhere, but I haven't done it for this reason. I find it creepy that that's how the data may be used. And there are other issues related to human rights in China. There are American companies that have helped the Chinese police state develop genetic databases of their own citizens. That's actually much more sinister because the Chinese government can't imprison me. They can't imprison their own citizens.
What if they were to develop some kind of biological entity that could say, hey, I want to wipe out females of childbearing ages or something? The mind just can wander.
I don't want us to wander too far because the reality is bad enough in terms of what they're doing to their own people. But I do think, I never talk about legislation I haven't read, but it's a legitimate concern.
All right, Ms. Kissel. That rhymes with missile.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I concur with what was just said. One of China's, weapons is the number of people that they have. They can use AI and big data to collect information and to develop more sophisticated technology and weapon systems to just suppress their own people, but also to attack us, our friends and our allies. So I think there are gray areas as well, not just, for instance, genetic material, but let's say location services. Why would China, for instance, through TikTok want to know where Americans are going? I've had clients say to me, who cares, Mary, if I have TikTok on my phone? Who am I? Well, you may not be a target yourself, but if they have aggregate data on tens of millions of Americans, how they're all related to one another. If you go, for instance, to, if you're using this app, they can also listen to you. It's not just about dissemination of propaganda. It's about listening to what you say and seeing where you are. So it's genetic information, it's location information, it's all manner of things that can feed their big data and their AI that should be of concern to us.
I had breakfast one time with your boss, and I remember he told me, he said, Tim, they have, they know how many paper clips you all are using in the Longworth building. I thought that was doubly creepy because I didn't tell him I was in Longworth. And so but anyway.
Congressman,
Mr. Bethel, I haven't heard from you all day, brother, and so please.
The company I think you should spend a lot of time focusing on is BGI, Beijing Genomics Institute. That's the entity that Ancestry and 23andMe and others use to process the DNA. It may perhaps not shock you that in 2021, BGI was working, it was found out that BGI was working with the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Perhaps that's coincidental, I'm not sure. But to Mary's point about TikTok, we should really understand what TikTok is. It's not about watching funny cat videos or, twerking or whatever. It's really an app that's looking at what you're viewing, and it's monitoring your facial expressions and your pupil dilation, and it's sending you more videos that elicit the same response. So after a certain period of time, they have an imprint of who you are, right? So they have genetic data, the data of who you are, your location data, How can that be good? And yet we can't conjure up a way to ban TikTok?
I think I'm out of time.
Yep.
I'm out of time. I'm sorry, Mr. Fennell.
Could I just say one thing?
You
Yes,
just butt in like that, you can. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I would recommend everybody to read a State Department document from March of 2023 by Dr. Dave Dorman and Dr. John Hemmings, Understanding Xi Jinping's Digital Strategy for China. They've done some outstanding open source research. We talk a lot about Xi's Belt and Road and all these initiatives, but also he started in 2023 Digital China, which is all related to what we're talking about.
Very, very good. Thank you. Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes Mr. Garcia from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses that are here. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the Chinese threat, which we all know